interesting. I'm sorry, did he just phase through the pallet, or... Hey guys, Scott here. Patch 9.6.0 is out, and reception's not really super great. I do think the visible teammate perks is really nice, but that's also kind of like really the only major change that even happened, so... Really, there's not too much of an excuse outside of an engine update for so many issues to be arising with this patch. And it's not just bugs. There's also a whole bunch of issues with new cosmetics that came out. The Attack on Titan skins are unanimously agreed upon to be just unfair, considering they cost as much as some visceral skins, which add new animations and moris. And it's essentially just a Trapper reskin with the exact same mori. You can see lots of disappointment from that. And it just kind of is putting a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Now, the actual bugs that have come out, it's not even that some of these bugs are incredibly... I mean, some of them are incredibly game-breaking, like Wesker, for example, was doing this.
Is that all you have?
Bro.
So there's a lot of other bugs that I wouldn't even call, like, game-breaking, but the fact that they're not game-breaking doesn't change the message of what I'm trying to say here, in that I don't understand how Behavior's QA team misses some of this stuff. Like, just... Here's an example of like a minor thing. When you exit the match now, there's no music plays anymore. I mean, Okay. So that's not like a game-breaking bug. That's not worth freaking out about. It's not really a huge deal. If anything, it's like, you know, the Jim Beam thing, like with the random beam in the loading screen. It's not a very big deal. It's not a game-breaking issue or anything like that. It's not going to ruin the game. But it's one of those things that makes you just go... How did they not see this? Did they not QA test one match to see that, hey, the music's not playing? How do you miss something like that? Like, and don't get me wrong, I have sympathy for them, probably more than most, because I have made games before, and I understand when you change one thing completely unrelated, you forget that that system is actually linked to this system, which is linked to this system, which is linked to this system. Before you know it, something 6 hours later in the game is completely broken because you changed one thing. I have sympathy for that. I completely understand how frustrating as a game dev that can be. And you know what? I have a very small game with way less variables and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier to keep track of. So, I mean, the whole point is I also don't have a QA team, so it kind of counters it out. But the whole point is I have sympathy for that. I get it. But in these types of scenarios where the only thing you need to do to see the bug is play one match out, that's what I don't understand. That's where it's weird. I'm complaining more about the inconsequential bugs and not like the Wesker being broken thing, which of course you would see if you played a single Wesker match. But I'm more upset about the minor bugs that are just so obvious that there's no way a human being could have missed them. Like, there's another thing where just cosmetics and random things that attach to your character are just sticking on the edge of your hand now. Like, again, not a very big deal. Very minor, doesn't break the game in any way. It's very silly. But how do you not see that? You play one game with one item, and it's attached to your hand instead of you holding it. Like, you just do one game and you'll see this. That's the most frustrating part, is these issues that should be seen with zero effort. I'm not talking about the crazy in-depth bugs that if you're playing Nurse on this map and you try to blink through this area, your game soft locks if you do blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, how does that happen? But I get it. That's a pretty niche scenario. You've got a pretty good excuse as to not, you know, being able to see that. But these bugs that happen just when you play a game, you should be able to notice that. The insanely loud sound effects that are just randomly happening now for some reason. You should be able to notice that. The exit gate randomly being delayed when you open it, and then also you can phase through it, so it's not actually, like, delayed. It just looks like it is, but you just phase through the wall. Like, again, these are all things you would find with one match of testing. You play one game, and you will see these bugs. So how does that not happen? That's the question I'm basically asking. How does QA not see the bugs that basically require you to just simply play a match of Dead by Daylight? I don't understand. The only thing I can think of is that they were testing and playing on a separate build of the game, but that makes no sense because you wouldn't push that version, like, live. The version that's live should be the very last thing that was tested. That's basically how that goes. So I truly don't understand. And I get that they can't fix things super rapidly because of console certification. Like on Steam, for example. Like, I have a game, and if I find a bug with the game, I can upload a fix to the game in 15 seconds, and it's uploaded and everyone downloads a patch. It's very instant on Steam, but I understand for console there's like certification, so it's not an easy process to like have that instantly be fixed. So what they try to do is bundle a bunch of fixes for the next main patch or something like that, and that's kind of what they did fixing Legion, for example. But then the problem with that is, because there's just so many, as they're fixing that, they're not seeing new things that are appearing. So it's very frustrating. We're always stuck in this cycle of bugs. Again, overall, the patch is fine. There's like not too many huge glaring flaws with it. The visible teammate perks is great and everything, but it's also not very eventful or exciting, and it's just getting a lot of bad press due to bugs like that, and it's also getting a lot of bad press due to the whole Attack on Titan cosmetic set, which costs like 1,500 Auric cells about, which is, the same as like Naughty Bear, for example, who has a separate Mori animation, all that actual different visual in-game stuff. But the Attack on Titan skins are, not to mention, do they not have any new animations? The same shitty Trapper Mori, but also they are 3 separate skins for very, very similar looking skins, which on the mobile version of DBD were actually just a bundle. So, and they all cost the same amount. So like, it's just putting a bad taste in people's mouth. And I think like the major problem I have with this patch is that it's just not really something that's like particularly exciting. Usually when there's like a new killer or something like that, new content, it's exciting. There's no new perks, and we're going to have a new killer, new meta, blah, blah, blah. And then, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to look forward to. But with this patch, basically, unless you explicitly play solo queue Survivor, really not much has happened. 2v8 apparently has a bunch of other bugs as well now, so that's not even good for the casual players that prefer 2v8, and then we're in this scenario where 2v8 is a thing, so if you enjoy playing killer, well, fuck you, you're back to, 6-minute queues on regular, and then 30-minute queues on 2v8. The play while you wait 1v4 feature is nice, but what I would really love is if it worked between queues, so I could queue for 2v8 killer, and then play 1v4 Survivor in the meantime, because I find 2v8 Survivor to be not very fun. There's not much skill involved there, which is probably why a lot of people enjoy it. It's a very casual mode, but, I'm trying to get, better at the game every day, and you don't really do that in 2v8. It's a very silly, fun, dumb mode. So if they could, like, make the queues work like that, I think that would be a lot more agreeable to a lot of people, because, yeah, a lot of people don't want to play Survivor in 2v8, but they also want to play killer in 2v8, but they can't because the queue times are just way too bad. So it does suck. But basically the general mindset is just lots of disappointment overall from bugs and, the whole cosmetic thing. And nothing really big or new or exciting happened to get people like, really into the game, or like, really wanting to relaunch it, or really wanting to come back to it after taking a break. I know a lot of people in my chat were saying they absolutely dread 2v8 because it just means they can't even play killer now. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like I'm not complaining about super big things. And at the end of the day, it's truly not like a giant big deal or anything like that. It's just an ongoing pattern of, come on, man, you should have seen that. It's just more like a disappointed dad than like a really furious about something being super broken. But I mean, it could be worse. So I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.